Well, at least I got the sad stuff out of the way. Let's now get into the more positive stuff. I think right now I should actually get in to my album review because I think I want to save the the topic about whether or not the vinyl resurgence is dead or dying. I think close to the to kind of end out the Nasty Metal podcast episode here. So right now, again, I don't even have any Q&A questions here. I don't have any Q&A questions, so there's no Q&A segment. So I'm just gonna get into the album review, and I'm just gonna look up the. Who knows? This could be a very short one. But I definitely do want to bring it up, and I made a card, a thumbnail for this one. I did all of that. No, did I do? You know what? I don't think I did do a thumbnail for this album that I'm going to be reviewing. But I think, and I'm going to get into some of my main reasons why I was debating whether or not I wanted to review this album anyways. I'm just trying to find where this is. Here we go. So, the band in question is a band, and of course this is actually a release from, was it last year? Let me go up on the Metal Archives here real quick, if I can. Go on to Metal Archives. Shit's been, the site always has times where it acts weird. Let's see if it's gonna give me the. Nope, everything's fine here on the computer. All right, that's a whole other story I don't want to get into right now about the Metal Archives because I'm on my phone, and when I got the computer off, I'm on my phone 24/7, browsing on the internet and stuff, and I go to Metal Archives here and there to look up bands or look up stuff, and I go on to there, and all of a sudden I get this pop-up where it's like, all right, we are checking your internet browser, whether or not your connection's secure or not. It's doing almost like security checking. Just to see, it's like, all right, the connection for this site is secured. You can now happily go into the site. Shit like that. And I'm like, how many times has this happened with Metal Archives? Over the years, they've always had some, like, what is it? I look up the band Virus, the British band. I go on to Metal Archives one year, and I went to look them up. The goddamn browser acted like it gave me a warning. It gave me like, oh, the connection ain't secured, probably because of the band name was Virus. So it thought, oh boy, I think this might give you a virus. It acted weird like that, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on with Metal Archives, and what is going on with my web browser? Where it's just all of a sudden it just spazzes out like that. I know now. I know I'm going to go into the fact that I just used the term spaz because now it's becoming wrong to use that term because of what it is for people with issues, I guess, in the UK and what it actually means. But I still use it once in a while, and not as a way to be funny, but just because of the shit just acts so goddamn weird. But who knows? It's always something brand new people like to complain over and act like they get so offhand about. All right, let's get into my album review and stuff. Let's get into it. This is it right here. So, okay, yeah, it is from 2020. I've been getting a lot of now album review recommendations from, of course, a label called, again, Horror Pain Gore Productions. And I think hopefully I did it correctly, where it's, yeah, Horror Pain Gore Death Productions. Or it could have been Horror Gore Pain Productions, I might have said by accident, but no, Horror Pain Gore Death Productions. I've been getting quite a bit of promotions, releases for their stuff on through my email, or Gmail account. I've been sent a lot of stuff, that would be suggesting, for me to review on the channel. And so I gotten one just recently. Again, I just started really getting with early this year, and I've already did plenty of releases already that were released through, again, Horror, Pain, Gore, Death Productions. The most recent one that I got, and it was for at least a release from a band called Mass Extinction, and the album was titled Never Ending Holocaust, which this was the album I was going to have as last week's album review. So, when looking up the release online, and especially on Metal Archives, I did notice that it was originally released on June 24th of 2020, though independently and though digitally. What Horror, Pain, Gore, Death Productions sent me is basically was for an August 19th release. It would be the first time it'd be released on CD, though very in limited limited quantities, limited numbers of release, just a limited number of copies. And so it's still it brings me back to a bit of the stuff with Doomsday Today Records, where again some of the stuff might have been released maybe a few years prior, but at the time they're reissues and they need to at least get some promotion. So I'm like, all right, this is probably going to be the same situation here. So I'll do justice. So, and of course, if you don't know, Mass Extinction are a grindcore band based out of Fair Lawn, New Jersey. And I took a listen to it. Again, it's a pretty short release. It's got 10 songs. And it's at least clocks in at least at 21 minutes and 38 seconds. And it's typical grindcore, though it's definitely not too bad of stuff. It's definitely grindcore, and it's fine. It sets out what it needs to do as a grindcore release. It's got plenty of anger, got plenty of very mean sort of leanings to the music and stuff. It's just typical of the grindcore genre, and it's fine. There's nothing wrong with the music itself, and I didn't mind it at all. I was not minding it. But the more I started looking into the intros, especially when it got to the very last song. It's the very last song, Industrialized Murder. Something just didn't click right with me. Something that it didn't hit me right. And I don't want to come across as sounding offended, but because I know this is grindcore as a genre that its concept is supposed, it's supposed to be seen as a very offensive genre, so it's kind of staying true to the core of what grindcore is. And again, it's supposed to be offensive. It's not supposed to, to make everyone feel great. It's supposed to make everyone feel safe. It's supposed to kind of tackle at least a little bit of that. It's supposed to trigger a bit of that. Just some of those kind of emotions. Supposed to kind of seen as a way that could piss off a lot of people. And I get that. But for some reason, there's something about, I'm going to get to it soon. I'm kind of making it very suspense, but it sure didn't hit well with me. And in a way, I just was like, you know what? I don't know what it's like. I understand, again, it's grindcore. Most of the bands within the genre are meant to be offensive. But I think this right here probably comes across as probably being a little bit too hokey in its way of trying to offend people. I think it's trying to be a little bit too, and I think it's almost trying to take itself way too seriously than I think that it actually should. And that's where I think why I have so much issues when it came to actually this album, especially the final song in question here, again, Industrialized Murder. And just to kind of just to what's the term? God dang it! To question the elephant in the room, to address the elephant. The lyrical themes for Mass Extinction is basically animal liberation. Basically pro animal life. And very anti-meat, anti-animal killing, all of that. I get that, so I understand that's where their heart is in, and I'm not going to fault them for that, because it is, in a way, it does come across like they're very genuinely into, their sort of eating habits, whether it be vegan or vegetarian. I get that, and they probably are, and I'm not going to what's the best words I'm looking for right now is I'm not going to judge them for that. I'm not going to harp on them for that. It's their lifestyle. It's their lifestyle, and I am no problem with that. Personally, me, I do eat meat, and that's just me. I'm not huge on that kind of stuff. It's just not for me. It's just not for me, okay? And I just hope that, and that's another reason why I felt like maybe it may not be a good idea to have a person like me who is a bit of a meat eater to actually review an album from a band that are very anti-meat and everything, anti-animal killing and everything, and I don't know, it probably would not be a good idea. But where I'm heading with this is that as much as I respect their lifestyle and stuff, and I give them for wanting to do that. It's personally for them. They want to eat that kind of way. They want to at least show that they are for that. That's fine. But especially when you're using audio samples, and I'm going to read you the two here, and these are the one, and this is where I'm getting at here, where I'm kind of heading into why I'm a little bit slightly pissed with some of this in a way where it a little bit made me mad in a way, and made me debate whether or not I really want to review this album on the channel, because I've already made it to where if I'm going to review an album on the channel, it needs to be something at least I like. If I'm going to review something that I don't like, I need to be a lot more constructive about it. But at the same time, I don't want to get into the habits where I do a lot of bad album reviews, albums I really don't like, and to where I'm going to be like, all right, I'm probably going to really come across as being a little bit too aggressive, a little bit too mean. And I've done that in the past before where I really went in, and I just don't want to do that. I think it's not completely great. So it's like if you don't have anything nice to actually say about an album, why are you wasting your time reviewing it when you could spend more time reviewing and taking time to record yourself reviewing an album that you actually like, And it got to a point with this album, especially with the song here, especially for the audio clips that was used, especially two I'm going to bring up, that do you really need to review this album? Because it really sounds like it's just that it really got to where it's like, I probably shouldn't, because it's probably it may not be very good for the band, and it's probably not going to be good for my channel, and it won't be good. But I do want to take the time to in a way, give my overall thoughts as part of this episode, because right now I'm a little bit laid back, and I'm not too mean right now, but I'm being very constructive, and this is it just boils down to these two freaking audio clips, which I'm now finally going to read, because I've already kept myself from reading them for now. I built up the suspense. It's time I finally get to read these two, and it's why this is the root of where it really made me mad. So here we go. I'm trying to find already. I think I know, like this one right here. I don't know where they got some of these clips from, what audio clip this was taken off of YouTube, but whoever it was, this is the kind of shit that actually kind of really pisses me off because of, in a way, for me, who actually kind of is who is a meat eater of some. I don't like when I get judged like this. It almost feels like I'm getting completely attacked for my lifestyle, and I don't like this. And this is one. Here we go. To the animals, all people are Nazis, and life is an eternal Treblinka. And then finally, the last one that really this is where I really got completely, really, where it's like, this was it. This is where it became so obvious about the band's intentions and why I think they get a little bit, why I think they're taking it, themselves a little bit too serious for me when it comes to a genre. That's usually a band that just are like completely almost a little bit, tongue-in-cheek, where they're, they're kind of having fun with it, even though they're probably saying a lot of very kind of nihilistic things in a way. At the same time, they come across as like, all right, they're just having fun with it. This is where it's kind of the opposite of that. This is why it doesn't work for me. And finally, I'm going to read the last little quote here from this audio clip that they've taken from. I mean, I should just read it before I get into all of this, before I get into any other thoughts. Here we go. This is the last one, and this is where it just was finally, I just completely just like, all right, fuck this. I'm done. If you're not vegan, you are on the side of the oppressors. You are on the side of violence. You are on the side of injustice of these innocent and vulnerable beings. That's the part where it's just like, all right, you know what? I'm fucking done. This is already where it's like, I don't know if I want to waste my time actually reviewing this album. It's one thing if you have at least a some sort of idea or your intention, just where you're, boy, what's the kind of best word I can use? Because right now I'm lost again because of the fact that I was so under the weather. Certain things that are just things ain't completely working today. But again, you kind of get where I'm coming from at this point already. Probably, hopefully you do. But it's one thing to really share your passion for things. I get where their heart is in. I get where the heart is in, but at the same time, there's at least a point when it comes to a lot of like making these records or something. Where do you need the audio clips? It's the audio clips right now, because I'm just fucking perplexed by some of this. I know a lot of grindcore bands have used a lot of audio clips, but the thing is that with these audio clips, it really makes it very evident of where their heart is in and how these songs, like, this is not just grindcore that's not to be taken too seriously. This is like, they want to take themselves way too seriously. And I can find it charming, but when you're trying to judge, because it comes across as very judgmental, and to the point where it's like they have almost a passion for actually sharing the demise of people like this. I mean, yes, I don't like animal killings to begin with. I think it's completely fair, but at the same time, when someone like me who actually is, because there is, I don't like the idea of animal killings just for the sake of it, like big game hunters. I hate big game hunters because they're not really doing it for food. They're doing it just so they can mount them on their wall like there's some trophy. That I do not like. Okay? I do not like that. But when it comes to the source of food, there's some of it that is, I know there's always the whole thing of the change. This is why it's so kind of such a touchy subject, and this is why I think I almost give them credit for wanting to kind of turn these touchy subjects into grindcore music. But at the same time, I think there's a part of it to where I think it comes across as a little too much, to where I think it's a little bit hokey, and I find it to where it just comes across like they're taking themselves way too seriously, where to me it's like the music is just not fun anymore. It's not fun. I love Napalm Death. I love stuff like that, just because of there is at least a fun factor to it. This is just that it just makes me feel like, I don't know, man. It's something about this just doesn't work for me. I just don't. Again, it feels like I'm getting personally attacked. I know that's usually used by people that, oh, you're a snowflake, you feel you're personally attacked. It's just words, But in a way, it kind of does. It is a little bit really on the offensive side, to the point to where I think some of them are almost full of shit. Because, again, it's the lines that just do it for me. To the animals, all people are Nazis, and life is an eternal Treblinka. And of course, if you're not vegan, you're on the side of the oppressors and shit like that. That to me is just like, alright, I'm fucking done. I don't think I need to waste any more time with some of this. This is not for me at all. If there's people who are really passionate about, that are into metal, that are passionate about being vegan, and are passionate, that share the same feelings as these guys, this is something for them. But for me, it's just not for me at all. Normally I'm very open-minded of people's opinions and their lifestyle, but something about the guys for Mass Extinction, and of course never-ending Holocaust, I'm sorry, it just comes across as being a little bit. I mean, I'm not against vegan people, it's just, I don't like it when people like me, who's at least very receptive of people who are of their lifestyle, somehow don't want to do the same, and instead feel like they have to completely take a shit on me in a way, and I feel like they have to goddamn personally attack me because of it. They think it's when I don't think it does anyone a complete good favor, because it's like, come on. It's something for you, but why try and force the same thing onto me? I think that there's a little bit of a kind of, it comes across as a little bit too much, and I just why I didn't really care for much of this release. Again, it's standard grindcore too, It's standard, and I don't want to take that as a complete pot shot. And hopefully, anyone doesn't take that, or hopefully doesn't take that as like a pot shot. But it's just it's kind of standard modern, grindcore. But the lyrics, just that's what does it for me with this release, and why I'm just like, all right, I don't need to force myself any more longer with this album. Even if it's 21 minutes, I'm not going to. I'm going to focus on other things I actually do like, and that's what I'm going to put my energy towards, and not so much this. But I wanted to kind of at least speak about this, because this was an album that I was going to review this week. But I was like, after giving it a listen, I'm like, I don't know. I really don't know if I want to go through, because of I don't know how much I'm going to do justice, because of I'm going to come across as a little bit offended in it. And again, this is about a genre that's known for offending people, but at least some people had fun doing it. These guys sound like I don't think they're having fun at all with with offending people. It's like they have a hard passion for it. And that's why it doesn't completely work for me in ways. Such when it comes to this stuff that's supposed to be fast, and it works better for hardcore punk, but grindcore is just, it was a crossbreed between sort of death metal and hardcore punk. And most of those bands were very tongue-in-cheek, and at least had a little bit of a fun way of doing it. This is why this album didn't work completely much for me, and I'm like, I just don't need to go any more further with this. And I mean, it was the last song, but I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to listen to any more of this album. I'm not going to give it any more spins. This was it for me. It's again, if they didn't have those little intros, those audio snippet clips and stuff that they used in the beginning of their songs or in their songs, I probably wouldn't have completely cared much, actually. But because of those, it made it very evident of what their feelings are towards this. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to deal with this, because for someone like me who does eat meat, I think it'd be it probably wouldn't be a good idea for a guy like me to actually review this album. I don't know if they would even admire it. I think they actually would find it offensive in itself if a guy like me was reviewing this album. But I got recommended it in a way, and I decided maybe since I want to support the Horror, Pain, Gore, Death Productions label. They've got some cool stuff on that label. There's some good stuff in a way. Again, stuff I want to support. But for a guy like me who wanted to kind of check this release out just out of respect of the label, you kind of have to really show your limits of where you can go with your reviews. It's like you kind of have to have your limits, and this is where it's like, I just have to sometimes put my foot down. I need to, like, I don't need to do this. It's okay, get grindcore, but I'm just not going to go this. I'm not going to go any further. This is the stuff that just doesn't work well for me at all. So there we go. That's it. But again, I'm going to recommend it to those who at least are, let's say, vegan or vegetarian and share the same passion and have the same feelings and heart of, the lyrics and stuff, and just the overall passion that Mass Extinction shares and puts in their songs. If you share those same sentiments, you share those same feelings, and you like grindcore, this would be the kind of album that'd be for you. But if you're not, and you're a guy like me that actually does eat meat, this is probably not going to be the one that'll be for you at all. And I think, if anything, I don't know if I would recommend it to a lot of those kind of people, because I think there are some people that are subscribed to me that are meat eaters would probably find something a little bit kind of uneasy about this release, and it probably would a little bit piss them off. So I'm not going to do that. That's why I kept it from being an actual album review episode. So there you go.